If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And to be in the heat means, to be criticized.
Well, you and I were looking at a video right before we went on camera. I wanted to show you in case you didn't have the context, but we were watching a video of Eric Weinstein on Joe Rogan recently where he was, I guess, like having a moment with string theory and going off about it.
David Gross and Ed Witten should be in front of the community explaining, why did you take all the smartest people, all the resources, all the attention? Michio Kaku, get Michio Kaku in here with me. Michio Kaku is out of control. Sean Carroll is covering up for this as well.
In what way?
They are too kind. Brian Greene. Like, I had this interchange with Brian Greene where I said, you know, we're not being honest about the failure of string theory. And Brian was like, oh, well, maybe we were a little bit exuberant. And I blurt out, Institute for Arts and Ideas, I blurt out, that's like saying Milai was irrational exuberance. No, you put a lot of people's careers in the shredder.
And it was kind of funny to watch, but I'm a little removed from it because I'm not a physicist, and neither is he. He's a mathematician. But he was talking about how it frustrates him that there hasn't, I think the way he put it was, they haven't like shipped a product in 70 years or something like that. And he was saying that there seems to be this like setup within physics and theoretical physics that says if you don't subscribe to string theory, like fuck off. And to me, it's kind of like, don't we still have to develop, like, isn't the whole point of can't even say that right now, theoretical physics to think about how things could possibly be so that we can find out ways to develop things to look at those things and test it in the first place? Therefore, we're kind of in the time period right now where we are trying to figure out how to test that with maybe something like quantum computing?
Well, first of all, where do correct ideas come from? In part, correct ideas come from interactions with incorrect ideas and also experiment. So the fact that there's controversy around these things is a good sign. We should welcome it. We should encourage more people to jump into the game and criticize, and so we can raise the level of conversation. But the key thing is to criticize in order to create a higher theory. That's the key. We're not talking about criticism for criticism's sake. That's easy. You could rattle off 1 million criticisms in an afternoon. We're talking about reaching a higher understanding. You know, when I was a kid, we had an expression, put up or shut up. So my personal attitude is as follows. You can criticize all you want. That's healthy. I welcome it. But propose your own theory. You don't like the theory that exists? Great, that's fine. We live in a democracy. Propose your own theory. Because where do correct ideas come from? Correct ideas come from interactions with incorrect ideas. But a criticism is not a proposal. And that's why I challenge people to make your own proposal. When I give a speech to an audience, I say to the audience, go home, propose your own unified field theory. And if you find it, come back to me and we'll publish together and we'll share the Nobel Prize, you and me together. Okay?
Yeah, I think from the outside, so like I was saying, sometimes it's like we look at it as non-scientists and there seems to be drama, so to speak, with it. But I agree with you. I think, you know, especially when you look at society today, not even science, even a guy like me, I'll sit here and I'll complain about certain things and I don't know how the hell to solve it, you know? And so it's almost, it seems like you're shouting into the abyss a little bit. So bringing up new ideas, if you're going to criticize, is smart and something we should do. I agree with you. But there also has been in, let's say, more recent years, the problem of shutting down criticism like at the start itself. And within science, within a lot of things, but within science, where you see there comes to be this type of consensus on whatever it is. I'm not talking about string theory, I'm talking about anything, where then anyone who comes in and says, well, hey, let's talk about this, they're told no. I mean, have you seen a change in that since you were coming up as far as like the openness to challenging ideas, or what would your thoughts there be?
Well, I've seen a lot of theories come and go. And when I started working on string theory back in 1968, when string theory was first born, it was the bad boy of physics. People said, what? A theory of strings? That violates everything we know about particles. What? Strings vibrating in 10-dimensional hyperspace? Beam me up, Scotty. We're talking about science fiction. Hyperspace? We're talking about wormholes? We're talking about other dimensions? That's stuff right out of science fiction. But yeah, string theory talks about that. In fact, we're up to 11 dimensions now with string theory.
What does that mean when you say we're up to 11 dimensions?
Well, most people think that the universe is three-dimensional. Length, width, height. 3 numbers define where you are. Einstein comes along and says, no, there's a fourth. The fourth number is time. So given length, width, height, given the time of the measurement, you now have an event in a 4-dimensional space-time continuum. That's Einstein's idea. Now we realize that Einstein didn't go far enough. There are other dimensions. In fact, we think up to 11 dimensions. That's really the universe of the Big Bang. The Big Bang was a disturbance in 11-dimensional hyperspace. And we are nothing but 4-dimensional vibrations that peeled off from the original explosion. And so when this idea was proposed, going all the way back to 1968, people said, this is nuts. I mean, this is crazy. We live in 4 dimensions. We live in a world of particles. You're talking about strings. You're talking about music. You're talking about hyperspace. You're talking about wormholes. You're talking about extraterrestrial intelligence even. At that point, string theory was shut out. We couldn't get a job. Many of my friends left physics, in fact, promising physicists because they could not get a job. And then I realized, hey, that's the way science is. At the cutting edge, it's rough and tumble. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And to be in the heat means, to be criticized. We were criticized heavily because people said, this is nonsense. Strings, hyperspace, other dimensions, wormholes, come on, give me a break. Well, now we are in a position where we dominate a lot of physics departments. And so when I hear the criticism of string theory, that perhaps string theory is too powerful, I say to myself, well, hey, look, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. That's just the way cutting-edge physics is done. At the cutting edge of physics, all theories are subject to blistering criticisms, and if you can't stand it, get out of the kitchen.
But you were also able to break through. Thank you for watching the video, guys. I put out this clip a couple days before I released the full episode, so if you don't yet see a link right here, it'll be up in a couple days. If you do see the link, though, here's the full episode, and don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Thank you.